in church. 1 word away from a 6-foot hole.
Did Doja Cat say when you finish with your goon sesh, meet me in church? Is that the lyric I caught? She used to be on those subreddits and it shows. I don't know if I like the album. That song's great. I'll give her that. That song. Ooh. Doja just says anything. And anything means anything. I don't think Doja Cat could get on Big Brother. I think the background check wouldn't fly. I mean, Turner got on the race, so I don't know. It's kind of hard to say. Like, I feel like the bar has fallen in terms of, like, what's acceptable. The Nolan twins are hosting competitions. Ozzy's back. Like, I think it's fine. What do you think about Taylor's album? I haven't listened to it fully, but from what I hear, it sounds fine. I understand there's a lot of, like, samples and copying and stuff. You know, if it's super, if you, like, do something new with a sample, I'm down. Even if you don't credit it, I just don't care about the legalese of it. I just don't like when people, like, take a popular song from, like, the 90s and just make it shittier, and then it becomes popular again because of how good the first song was. I think a great example, the perfect example is, I'm good, yeah, I'm feeling alright. That shit is one of the worst songs, genuinely, of all time. I think Doja Cat's Anxiety is, like, she does do something, or that's not Doja Cat. Who's Anxiety? That's, is that Doechii? Yeah, Doechii with Anxiety is, like, pretty terrible, but at least she tries something new.
What that song is?
What?
She made that song, I don't know how long ago, but like a good while back ago. People were pressing her to release it. So, like, it's not like a new song that she made.
Gotcha.
It was just like her rapping over this beat, you know what I mean?
It's almost weird to, like, make a sample of that song that just came out. When was somebody that I used to know? 2011? 12? My phone says verified chat only. That's definitely not true. How are you liking Northeastern? I do like it. I took a midterm today, first midterm and last midterm. Only one midterm. The rest of them are just finals. So I feel weight off my chest. Excited to stream a decent amount again. We are in the Big Brother off season, which means time to get creative. I've already got our next stream planned. It's a Brett Steele, but it's a fun one. It's a fun Big Brother one that you guys probably have not thought of yet. You have to have your email verified. I see. Okay. So I think there's a tremendous amount to talk about. I only streamed once since the BB27 finale, and I think the BB27 postseason has in many ways fascinated me. I think people's reactions to different people's behavior is really interesting, and I think just in general, some of these, you know, house guests' reactions are interesting, and just how they're acting is weird. Some of them. Now, I'm not intending to throw myself into drama, get people to respond and me respond back. I'm just going to be honest. If someone takes issue with a thing I say, that is absolutely their right. I don't care. Look, if I say something stupid and I have to apologize, I'd be willing to apologize if it's worth apologizing. Sure. But, like, this is not going to be a back and forth. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not interested in that. Like, you know, it is what it is. I feel like I'm more checked out of the community now than I've ever been before, which I'm happy with. You know, there's a lot going on in my life. So, you know, I'm just hanging out. I just want to get that out there because I feel like a year and a half ago, if I said some shit about Matt Hardiman and then Matt Hardiman said some shit about me, it'd become like we quote tweet each other. Like, nah, I don't want to say I've matured past that. I'm the same person, but I just have a different life now. I'm not on social media like that. I'm not tweeting. I'm not, you know, it's just different. Okay. Anyways, where do we even start? Let's start with Morgan and Ashley, because they're doing some deep divey stuff, and Morgan's doing an interview with Sharon and streaming and doesn't want to watch back the season. Okay. Here's my perspective on Morgan's perspective on wanting to watch things. Because first of all, I tuned into her stream yesterday. It was very fun. She's a natural streamer. Like, she's a pro. I can only imagine how fun it is to watch her, like, queue up Apex for, like, 4 or 5 hours. Because you know she gets fucking tilted. And I'm sure that would be very fun. I do agree with a lot of people who are like, why are we surprised about Morgan's perspective on Big Brother and Big Brother's strategy? Because Morgan is a very strategic player. Is she strategically great? I don't know. Is she strategically good? I think relative to the average Big Brother player, probably. But, like, she's not a master strategy. She did not come in as a super fan. She basically just, like, played as hard as she possibly could at every point. Which is all we want. So when she leaves the house and, like, her reads are not perfect, and, like, she still has some of the incorrect perspectives that she had in the house, why are we surprised? We shouldn't be. And I think anyone who, like, watched the feeds and followed the season closely shouldn't be surprised by anything we've gotten. Then there's the whole side of, like, okay, she does the interview with Sharon. She doesn't want to hear any other perspective. Sharon's not really pushing back. There's two sides of this. First of all, Morgan doesn't owe anybody anything. You know what I mean? Especially when it comes to questions about Vince. She's allowed to say whatever she wants, and you and me are allowed to think whatever we want. I think people who watch the feeds, generally, there's a consensus of, like, we think we know what was happening. It's kind of hard, I think, to watch their interactions and be like, yeah, that was all game for either party. I think that's hard for me to believe, but that's what it is. Expecting Morgan to, like, go on stream and spill her guts about her relationship that she just had for 3 months, whether it's platonic or romantic or somewhere in between or totally on either side. We're off, the game's over. We're officially at the point where we don't get access to people's personal lives, actions, and beliefs. Like, so that just is what it is. Like, I think we can read between the lines. You can come to whatever conclusion you want and stop expecting these people to, like, reopen their lives to you. Because they're not your lives. Of course, when it comes to, like, denying all the Vince stuff, the cheat man stuff, it's like, duh. How did you guys think this was going to play out? Anyone who thought they were going to, like, pop up as a couple a week out of the house. Look, crazier things have happened. It's reality TV. But that was not going to happen. With the reaction that the fan base was going to have, Morgan being relatively beloved, Vince not being, like, there's a lot of barriers. Vince having a girlfriend of 7 years. Like, I don't think there was any reasonable expectation for them to be together. Now, let's say something is going on. I have no reason to believe it is. I take Morgan for her word. They also don't owe us that information. You know what I mean? And I know it's frustrating because, like, I don't want to say it's an addiction because I don't want to, like, addiction's serious. This is Big Brother. But I do think to a certain point, like, you get very attached to Big Brother and this medium, and then it just gets cut off cold turkey. I think this is especially true for showmances. Morgan and Vince are, like, a weird case because what are they? But, like, America and myself, you know, you're in the house, you're watching us 24/7, and then immediately done. You don't see anything from us. And I think that's very jarring for people, and I think it's silly to pretend like it's ridiculous to feel bad about that. Like, this has been your entertainment. This has been what you've been parasocially attached to, and now it's just gone. You know what I mean? So, like, I have no problem with how Morgan's talking about her relationship with Vince inside the house and outside the house. Obviously, outside the house, she owes us nothing. Of course. Like, come on. They could be married, they could be mortal enemies, and they have no reason to tell us if they don't want to. The inside the house stuff, it's real life. What's happening with Vince and his girlfriend and Morgan and all this matters to us in terms of, like, oh, it's entertaining. For them, it's like their actual lives where they're trying to figure out what to do. So, like, the fact that one side's gone radio silent and then the other one is using, like, PR speak and just saying all the right things, yeah, that's how that's going to work. Now, the only time it doesn't work like that is when you have people who are trying to feast off the drama and feed into the toxicity and capitalize on all the bullshit, which there are people from BB27 who are doing that. And we'll talk about them, because what the fuck? I don't think Vince called the paparazzi on himself. I think that's so stupid. I don't even. Where did that come from?
People made that up.
Like, is that okay? Here's my question: is that a real perspective that some people have?
Yes, a lot of people think so. I think it's dumb too. Because we saw Vince in the house. He hates this type of attention. Like, he does not want this attention.
Because he was looking at the camera? Is that your evidence? Someone's holding a camera to him in public. He looked at it. I think it would be more surprising if he did not look at it. Sharon said it to start with. Sharon's been a little hit or miss with some of her info recently. I love Sharon. I think she's a great journalist.
It's
But
not like they were on the cover of, like, E.T. either. You know what I mean? Like, it was...
Yeah.
I forgot, like...
Sharon said she didn't think he called them. Let me get this straight. So the theory is because Sharon said she didn't think that he called them, that gives some weight to the fact that he might have called them. I know Ashley thinks... Okay, so I want to talk about Ashley too. I don't think Vince called the paparazzi. I think there is a market online for reality TV drama, and someone's trying to capitalize on it, and I would imagine they're being marginally successful in doing that, right? Rachel also thinks that. It does not surprise me that people who don't like Vince think that and are saying that. And like, maybe they actually do think it. Like, I'm not saying they're trying to slander his name. I don't know what benefit that gives to Vince. So I do not believe Vince called the paparazzi. I would actually wager a significant, hefty amount of money, maybe a $750,000 worth of money, that that is not the case. Okay. So that's hilarious. I think Vince is just taking it all in. He's coming out to a lot of negative reactions. He also lost the game in a situation where I think he had a good shot of winning against Ashley. It was a very turbulent summer. He's obviously dealing with a lot of personal stuff. Like, I think him disappearing off the face of the earth and social media for at least a while is a very reasonable, mature, responsible thing to do. And I would imagine whoever's around him is giving him good advice. Because Vince being on these TikTok lives would not be helpful for him. So I think Vince is doing what he should be doing for his own sanity, his own peace. I just think that's the right decision. And it kind of sucks because you want to capitalize off of the micro fame and the money and the cameo and the, is he doing cameos? Do you know? He's not? Yeah, like that part's a bummer because obviously he's not, like, rich. He got $75K. That's good, but, But I still think it's the right call. Okay. Let's talk about Ashley for a second. Ashley wins Big Brother. I enjoyed the deep dive. Didn't listen to all of it. I find the winners' deep dives just worse in general. And it has nothing to do with, like, Taylor specifically or Chelsea specifically or Ashley specifically. Or, I mean, Jag didn't do it. But it's just, like, it feels a very self-aggrandizing, like, Obama putting the medal on himself. Especially when it's, like, Taryn's rooting interest. And Taryn roots for the players who often we are rooting for because, like, we want the social strategist. But I think it's, like, maybe this is just a perspective from a loser on one of these shows where it's like, damn, this pisses me off. Kevin's was really good. I just think deep dives specifically, and this is hyper-specific to Big Brother deep dives, is unlike any interview you could do in your entire life. 99.9% of times, the interviewer is trying to get information out of the interviewee. I'm interviewing Tyson Apostle about blood versus water. Tyson, what was actually happening about the R's vote? Big Brother, it would be Tyson going to Taryn and being like, Taryn, so what the fuck was happening during the R's vote? So it's a very weird kind of thing. You walk in feeling like you're going to be interviewed, but in reality, you have to end up interviewing the other person. And obviously, I knew what I was walking into. I think Ashley did a good job as well. I think Taryn adding, like, the multimedia elements was a very fun touch. I think that's something he should, add to all the deep dives. It's a lot of work. So, the ones that he thinks are important. So I feel very split on Ashley right now. She seems great. I'm sure we'll hang out at some point. I was DMing her about law school. I think her reaction to all the people talking shit is beyond reasonable. I mean, Vince was very vitriolic towards her the entire season. I don't think winning 750K over Vince means you're not allowed to respond to the shit he said. That's not fair. I think Taylor is famous for taking the when they go low, we go high, not talking shit about her castmates, stuff like that. And that's very graceful. I don't think that's necessary. I think you're well within your right to talk shit when someone talks shit about you. So here's, I think, so there's that piece of it, and that I just believe. The other thing I don't like is, like, I think there is a weaponization of fan bases that happens, and I think people should do what they can to avoid it. I'm not going to say I'm guilty of it, but, like, I understand, especially back in the day, the Americory fan base was... They went out and did some shit. Sent DMs, were very harsh in the name of Americory. Not like we sent them. We'll condemn it whenever we see it. We did. It's just kind of natural to a show like Big Brother. I do think some of the behavior has been, like, encouraging, hey, go shit on Vince. Which, again, it's like, Vince started it. If Vince didn't talk all the shit about Ashley, there wouldn't be this blowback. I just think it's not even about taking the higher road. I just think, like, it's something you learn as an alum of a reality show, someone with any type of fan base, is, like, be very careful treating your fan base as friends and as support units and as people to open up to. I think that is just, like, a bad thing to do. And it's not for why you think. It's not like, oh, it's irresponsible. You're going to really harm the people who you're putting your fans on.
Literally, fuck off.
Fans will turn on you. And I'm talking to fans, and it's a small percentage and stuff like that. I get it. But, like, in the grand scheme of things, your fans are not your friends because your fans can become your enemies tomorrow based on nothing that you did. Or maybe you say something they disagree with. Or maybe they just have an episode. Like, that happens. I mean, some of me and America's biggest haters are people who used to be fans of ours. There was a guy who came into chat, I think, last stream. 20-month sub, just seen him in chat. Normal person, seemingly, left comments. I looked at their logs. Came out with some crazy, mean challenge shit. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what? How did this turn around? What happened? So it's like, I think people need to understand the role of fans in terms of, like, they are there to absorb your content and there to support you, and, like, you're there to entertain them and feed them bits of your life that you're willing to share, and it could be a mutually good relationship. I hope people who've stuck around and are watching my stream 2 years after the house get something out of it, even if it's, background noise while they're doing their homework or at work or whatever. And I think it's just a lesson that Ashley's going to have to learn. I feel weird, like, it feels like I'm not necessarily being condescending, but, like, trying to have this be a teaching moment when, like, obviously all these people are older than me and professionally more accomplished. But, like, Felicia Cannon, after BB25, was less experienced dealing with the BB community than Michael Bruner after BB24. You know what I mean? Like, after you're out of Big Brother, there's nothing like it. Like, no amount of life experience or professional experience prepares you for this life. It's just super unique and weird. You would think Hannah would have prepped her. I mean, we saw Hannah's game and Ashley's game. Like, people are people. They're going to act like themselves. And I think what makes it a little bit harder is, like, you get hyped up by your fans so much. Right? And you just feel like the entire world is in the palm of your hands. You come out, you're a fan favorite, you win the money, everyone's backing you. Your number one ally is the other fan favorite. The person you hate is hated by everyone. And I think it's just very easy to be like, this is awesome. I just think it's a slippery slope because it's not always that good. And you just don't want to be, like, super deep in the trenches. specifically with like online communities and fan bases. It's just not healthy. It's never worked out. Everyone starts their Discord implodes, their fan base splinters. Like, it's always a mess. Ashley's biggest mistake was implying Morgan was bitter. Okay, so let's speak a little bit more broadly, I guess. Alumni who pander to fans by spreading information about their peers, the only word I can think of is pathetic. It's the only one. Lame, pathetic, loser behavior. And it's Jimmy. And look, I know Jimmy, like, he probably, like, is perking up right now. Someone said my name. And I was rooting for Jimmy. You guys, there's videos of me, like, begging for Jimmy to win that blockbuster. I was Team Jimmy. I defended the speeches and the prepared comments. I thought he was very fun in feeds. I don't think he was a bad player. He was my winner pick. You guys remember? First pick of the draft. I have never been so, like, grossed out by an alum's behavior postseason. And, like, look, it's not that deep. There's people in the world worse than Jimmy. But in the context of just, like, what he's doing, it's just so lame. It's just lame. Like, just, like, running around, spreading. Like, and this was happening during the season. Here's what Vince was saying in lockdown about him and his girlfriend. It's just unnecessary. It's weird. You're getting internet brownie points. And people like to shit like, oh, he's a pre-juror. I don't care when you're evicted. My brother was first Buddha Survivor. He's a valued member in the Survivor community, and he's awesome. I think people wish he was more involved.
Well, no, this is why I do think it matters, him being pre-jury. He's talking about people that are still in the house.
Yes,
like, that he
sure.
knows. Like, it's different when we, like, critique people's games or talk about what we're watching, but when he knows these people personally,
yeah,
like, that's when it gets weird.
Telling everyone Catherine's going to visit Riley even though she told him not to say anything. It's not messy. It's called being a bad friend.
Anyway, I knew Rachel would shut that shit down. Because Rachel has always been we're a BB family. We all got to get along. Andy has that story about how she put Alyssa and Andy in a room and was like, okay, you guys are going to figure it out. I know y'all talk shit about each other, but you're going to be good at the end of this. So I knew as soon as, like, the show was over, Rachel would talk to Jimmy and, like, put an end to it. And it seems like he has, slowed it down a bit. And he's not talking about people anymore.
I agree. I hope you guys could hear her. Okay. And look, if I see Jimmy in person, I'm not going to confront him. I'm down to be friends with Jimmy if Jimmy wants to not do this anymore. I really felt very positively predisposed to him. Like, I just thought he was funny, and he was a gamer, and he was scheming, and, like, I just thought that behavior was really silly. And it was such a... let me do a contrast. Him versus Adrian. Adrian's been all over the place since he was evicted. TikTok lives almost every day for a while, and he's showing up at events, he's showing up at watch parties. Adrian seems so chill. I have no problem with Big Brother alum trying to be involved. You want to talk about someone? Matt Hardiman. Him harping on Angela every 3 days, I think it's annoying. I think it's weird. But, like, it's fine. You know, it's what it is what it is. It would be weird if he was like, hey, did you guys hear the tea with Cam and Chelsea? Did you guys hear what Leah's doing? That's just weird. Morgan, I must say, you entered the chat at an odd time. I'm talking about some of your peers.
I'll keep going.
Shout outs to Morgan. So what I was saying, I think it is extremely slimy, gross, and weird to treat the fan base like your friends and your friends like currency for the fan base. And I think that is what was happening. And again, it's not messy, it's not cute, it's not iconic behavior, it's loser behavior. And I hope he learned. Like, I think it's just one of those things where, like, no one has any experience being a Big Brother influencer or a Big Brother player postseason. It's impossible to have that experience unless it's your second time playing Big Brother. Even Morgan, like, dabbled in the influencer world before. She was a streamer for a while. She's been in these communities. Big Brother's different. Even going on Survivor, that's a whole different experience. Big Brother itself is its own unique experience, and the postseason reflects that. And I want to give people grace. It's just like, I think when your behavior has negative impacts on others, that's where it's like, okay, I'm not going to give you grace. You're not giving anyone else grace. So why, like, you don't deserve my grace. But again, like, I'd be very, very happy if anyone who I talk shit about just takes in the information, or if they internalize it and hate me. Like, I don't care. If they want to come out and say something, I'm not responding. There's no internet beef stemming from corywurtenberger anymore. I'm done. So maybe that's unfair. Maybe it's like, damn, you're dishing it, but you can't take it. I'm like, no, I will take it. I'll take it and then just not dish it again. Maybe I'll talk more shit on stream. Maybe that'll be the extent of it. Very glad Rachel's been able to pull this cast back from some of the nastiness. And shout outs to Rachel, because I'm sorry. She's as experienced as they come in terms of Big Brother. BB13 postseason cannot resemble BB27 postseason. That's got to be a whole different experience. And I think she's handled herself very well. You know, ultimately she's a mom and a wife. She loves her family more than anyone. She's just like dealing with that first, and I'm sure she'll dip her toes back in the BB community. She did a AMA on Chat BCC, so that was fun. Class act. She's not one to complain about production, so it's our job to do it for her. Shout outs to everyone for contributing. She's doing a deep dive with Taryn. Look, I think the only people... Okay, wait. Sorry. While we're on the topic of deep dives, I've been railroaded. That's not the right word. I've been sidetracked. Railroaded. Whoa. I've been railed. Deep dives. No one is sitting there... Okay, I think people have the idea...
It's derailed.
Derailed. Well, the railed was a joke.
No, I know, but it's like... yeah.
Sent here by Mother Morgan. You weren't streaming, were you? Is this like a Discord chat? Is this a... Anyways. What's up? Are you guys... So, are you all the Mafia? America's right here. Yeah, she's hanging. She's reading Mockingjay right now. You guys remember that ninja tweet of like... My braless wife brought me a sandwich during the football game. I'm like, my braless girlfriend reading Mockingjay on the couch. What a life. So, the fan base of the Mafia, that's fucked up. I don't like that. I'm sorry. I don't know how familiar you are with BB27, Morgan. I do not fuck with the Mafia. Maybe your Mafia. My Mafia is very different. It's comprised of 3 people. Matt, Jag, Bowie, Jane. Chill on us. Hey, here's what I'll say. Favorite Mafia I've met in the past 2 years. Oh. This is a no Mafia zone. We'll allow it for today. So I was talking about deep dives. I think a lot of online fans who like know what a Terran deep dive is, imagine that like all the Big Brother house guests go home and then open their laptop, open their email, and refresh, being like, oh, am I going to get invited? That's not how it works. A lot of people were like, how the fuck is this person going to get a deep dive? Cory and Quinn got one. They got 8th and 9th. Do you think there's a lot of people who want to do them? and that's question 1. And question 2 is like, do you think there's many house guests capable of doing deep dives? Not because like doing a 6-hour podcast is incredibly difficult, but being able to like explain your game and talk about it. Like, you have to be a specific type of person to want to do that. Not to mention, and this is just a fun fact, as you all know, your savior, Morgod, was a 3rd place finisher, made it to day, I believe, 82, 84, something like that. I got 8th place and made it to day 79. So some seasons are just built different, right? So I feel like I had a lot to talk about.
Literally.
But there's no measure of, like, clout associated with a deep dive. It's not like, ooh, they got a deep dive. They got invited to a deep dive. It's literally like you getting reached out to by someone from RHAP and being like, yeah, I'm down. That'll be fun. Or you reach out to RHAP and like, hey, I would love to chat about my game. And they'll be like, awesome, let's set it up. Mike gives Model Morg a sub. Welcome, Morgan. Chiara, thank you for the 5 gifted. I appreciate it. It's good to see you back, Chiara. It's been a minute. Hope you're doing well. Appreciate the gifts. And Shinks for the 11 months. How are you doing? How are you doing? Cory, why was your season so long? I got busy with school, so I never watched. Well, here's what I'll say. We had 17 house guests. 1 was ejected the first week for saying a slur. And then we had like 19 evictions. We evicted Cameron, he came back. We evicted Jared, he came back. We evicted Jag, he came back. Just the math. There was a lot of evictions. I made it to day 7. I got 8th place out of 17. Literally the middle of the pack. And I survived like 25 evictions. It was pretty fucked up. Your season was fun, not gonna lie. That's giving casual behavior. But I appreciate the compliment. Because if you're not a casual, BB25 was a rough experience. Not least so for myself. Mimi and Michael, BB24, played the same amount of days. That's a great example. Y'all's twist was insane. I'll still take it over the fucking Blockbuster. And even still, like, I'm sure the Blockbuster was nice for you because you're a badass competitor, but, like, the Blockbuster on our season, oh my god. I feel very lucky that I was able to play on, in my opinion, like, the last real season of Big Brother. Granted, I think 27 is the best season we've had in, like, years, since maybe BB20. But it's not the same. It's a whole different fucking show at this point. And I prefer the older show. I think White Locust, low-key, was like... Here's the thing. Terrible twist with probably the worst outcome thematically for the season. It was just such a deflating thing. I think it's a testament to how good the season was that, like, I still hold it to such high regard, where I think that is the worst twist we've had in years. Because at least with Zombie Week, there was, like, ways to maneuver. You know what I mean? If Zombie Week happened and then I was just ejected once Cameron walked in, that would be lame. It bounced back, luckily. Yeah. I mean, that's what happens when, like, most of your players in the endgame are hardcore gamers. It goes without saying, Morgan's a gamer. Have you guys heard? Ashley was gaming her ass off the whole time. Vince, say what you will about him, that guy never took a break. Keanu, people act like he's like a Tucker, where he's just competition. He was trying every social strategic angle he can, even if none of them worked. But he was trying. There's only a few people in that endgame who were really, a bit more subdued in what they were doing. He lost the only Blockbuster you competed in. Morgan, if you ever dare to complain to me about the competitions you've lost, I'm going to ban you. You and I both won the double eviction. What a bonding thing for us. Then you won 6 more competitions. I have no sympathy for you losing one and then winning the rest. I was a victim of a Morgan on my season, of Jag winning 7 fucking vetoes. Absolutely not. I do not accept that. Pisses me off. I will say, though, part of me wants Big Brother All-Stars 3 or whatever the fuck reason they have to bring people back. I want to see who the real compists are. Because I think it's so hard to measure people against their competition. I think Morgan, for what it's worth, you had a lot of, like, basically all the top-end competitors were in the endgame, minus, like, 1 or 2. Jag had really impressive feats, but, like, his competition was weaker. I think Michael probably has the most well-rounded. I'd be curious who, like, actually is better at these comps than other people. And the funny thing is, like, treating it like it's something serious as if you're not, like, watching Zingbot get executed by the mastermind. Like, power of vetoes are not a sport, guys. These are goofy carnival games with a lot of running around, and some people are really good at them. Puts on BB Comics costume. I have a BB Comics story. So, Morgan, when we found out that you won BB Comics, it gets tweeted, Morgan's won, we start freaking out because one of the things that me and America are very proud of is America's performance in BB Comics. She was the fastest time for a woman in the show's history. So immediately we're like, good for Morgan. That's awesome. Did she beat America's time? And I'm happy to say you did not, Morgan. You did happen to win 6 other vetoes or whatever it was. But this one thing we still have. What was your comic? I'm trying to remember.
What do you mean?
Morgan's.
America?
I know yours.
Morgan?
Oh, you had the weird one. The morgue.
Yeah.
Damn, you ride for the Hogfather like that? What's that about? Damn. I will say, I think you are similar to me in the sense that you have a very puzzling BB comic. Where I'm like, what the fuck are they trying to do here? So what's your superpower? Have you discussed that? Do you like speak to the dead? Are you just like the Hogfather's cleanup crew? You lost OTEV, so you had to do the pig's dirty work. You're saying that like that makes sense. You're saying that like, oh, okay, so you lost OTEV, so you had to do the pig's dirty. Yeah, okay, gotcha. You just send people home? Okay, well, that's fair. Thank you, Salsy, for the tier 1. I appreciate it. Collecting bodies. Yeah. It's given the Keanu 1 by 1. Either they're saying she was responsible for evictions. That would have been I would have targeted someone if they got that comic. Like, you walk in, their comic is the evictor. You're like, oh, shit. Maneater. Yeah, I was trying to figure out the context of Maneater last night watching the stream. America enlightened me. Okay, so Morgod, I have an issue with Morgod as a nickname because it reminds me of Godzilla, which I love Angela. Let me tell you about my Vegas trip. Angela, one of the best. What a queen. The Godzilla, anyone who says those words, immediate red flags. I'm like, uh-oh, that's bad news. So I'm just going to separate Morgod from Godzilla. Also reminds me of Rizgod. Thanks, Mom. That's a good point. Wow, that would be a great captain season. Morgod versus Rizgod. They said Ash Legend. Is there a war? Are these fan bases at war? Obviously, Morgan's going to say, of course not, and I know that's how she feels. But are the fan bases, is there, like, huge beef?
Babe,
Are there warring factions?
That's all they've been doing for the last 12 days. Are you fucking kidding me? Every single platform I go on.
Just says not too much. There's not. There's no beef. There's not war. See, everything's good, y'all. What's the problem? There is beef. Ooh. Oh. Wow. Enjoy it until Love Island starts, y'all. There's some radical factions on Twitter. I like calling them radical factions as opposed to what they are, group chats. Damn. There's some really concerning coalitions. The coalitions in question, a Twitter space.
Associates. Like the big justice.
I feel like the final 3, the fan base wants the final 3 to be talking online all the time. Yeah, I mean, I think BB27, first of all, was much more popular than recent seasons. Much more popular than BB26, and 26 was a huge step up from 25. So, like, I think it's natural that the fan base has kind of taken this turn, but the Big Brother fan base has always been incredibly toxic and crazy, and it's really nothing new. I think what's distinct about BB27 is, like, it's extremely rare that in the end game there's 2 people who people want to win. First of all, people were rooting for Keanu, but then between Morgan and Ashley, I think people were happy with either outcome. For the most part, people have their preferences. But usually when Steve cuts Vanessa, people are like, damn, this is so lame. Steve won. And I love Steve. But you know what I mean? People also wanted Vince to win. Look, I think I'm very fair about Vince's game. I think Vince would have been a very fun winner. Like, what a crazy ending that would have been. Ashley cuts Morgan and Vince wins. That would have been some shit. Like, I don't think that hurts the season necessarily. Okay. Thank you, Pooped Khakis, for the tier 1. I heard the show edit was much different than what the live feed showed about a lot of house guests, but that's TV. Yeah. I mean, so I assume you've never watched the feeds, right? Because you were recruited, and then, respect to you, actually did your homework, unlike most. You'll see next year, I assume you'll follow a little bit more closely, just like the online spaces and just being online, you'll hear more. They're essentially different products. I mean, according to the show, Ashley was evicted like week 2. You know, Ava was a strategic mastermind, and, you know, she had her strengths, but what are you going to do? Rachel was bullying Keanu. Like, it was just, you know. I will say, though, people who demand, like, I'll just straight up say what I'm saying. In regards to your interview with Sharon, people are like, how dare Morgan not go back and watch the season immediately? Do you know how long it took us to watch the season back?
Like 8 months.
America still refuses to watch my eviction week.
Oh, I haven't seen past.
She hasn't seen post the final 8. We're 2 years at the house. So, like, I think the downside of it is when you talk about the game, a lot of people are going to be like, you don't have a warrant to talk, you don't know what actually happened. But as long as it's framed from the perspective of, like, yeah, this is my experience and this is my perspective on the thing, that's fine. I am a madman who listened to all the live feed updates immediately and heard Taryn talking shit about me with all these live feed update guests who were also talking shit about me and said I was playing bad at times and was arrogant and didn't know how to kiss and very personal things. And I see Keanu's doing the same thing, which I have a ton of respect for. Most people are normal and don't want to put themselves through that, at least for a while. Not the kissing. Do you know how weird it is for Taryn, or for me to, a long time, you know, listener of these podcasts, to hear Taryn talking about, like, and you could tell Cory's visibly uncomfortable with this intimacy. Like, get off my shit. And I'm sure for, like, Morgan, there's going to be a ton of, like, topics in the house. It's like, yeah, I would like to not hear about that right now. That's not how I want to spend my Friday afternoon. So, again, just be realistic. Like, just put yourself in someone else's shoes for a second. Like, it ended up in a Yahoo article. I must have missed that article. I'm putting together a stream that I think is going to be kind of fun. It's going to be just Big Brother slop articles on, like, some of these websites where it's, like, player rankings of this season. And you could tell, like, there's literally no rhyme or reason to where people are ranked. Not even, like, these are casuals, clearly, who think Cameron's a great player. It's like, why is Heisem 7th of 17? How did we get there? So I'm, like, compiling articles to look through. I think it'd be funny. You see, you didn't make that one Big Brother steamiest showmances article? Showmances are dropping like flies. Eventually, we're going to make it by default. At this point, just to fill the word count, they have to talk about us. It's missing the rich tapestry, I suppose. Let me talk about Keanu for a second. Talk about Keanu for a moment. Have a great stream. See you, I was going to say model Morg. It's weird. Bye, Morg Reacts. Bye, Morgod. Okay, so Keanu. So, Keanu comments on the live feed update that I did with Taryn. It was at the final 5 where Keanu's getting evicted. We just found out that Vince won HOH. This was the day we found out Morgan won the final 5 veto. So it's kind of like a Keanu eulogy episode. You know what I mean? And in said Keanu eulogy episode, we're being critical of a lot of things. Keanu's trusting Vince for the 1 millionth time. He threw the HOH comp, essentially, like, you know, just normal stuff. I don't know if I was being harsh necessarily. I was saying, like, he actually has good reads on the house, but all of his reads about himself are wrong because he's, like, he always views things through his own lens, you know, like, basically calling him arrogant. You know what, let me leave. He didn't throw the comp. I'm talking about the HOH, not the veto, where, like, it was literally a heavy-ass sword, and those biceps should have been able to beat Vince. Like, if he was locked in, I don't know how the fuck Vince beats him there. And Vince beat him on the wall, but that's a whole different kind of comp. Now, I'm not saying throw it. I mean, like,
No, he was comfortable.
fumbled.
Yeah.
Is that a better way? That's what I'm saying. Fumbled it. He was holding it with one arm, like, waving. Like, he was, you know. That's the distinction.
He literally said, boy, and, like, he's like, I can't believe it's just going to be us boys or something like that up in the HOH room.
He said they wanted him to wheel in dodgeball so they can watch and just hang with the bros. Keanu following you on IG, I love him. Say what you will about Keanu, he's just a good-hearted person. But what I'm saying about Keanu, he comments on this deep dive basically saying, like, I'm going to listen to all of these updates. This is going to be a huge journey for me, whatever. I want to address some things. And he says that, you know, he trusted Vince because Vince reminds him of his little brother, and why he didn't trust the women in the house. I guess pushing back against some of the stuff of, like, Keanu only listens to the men, doesn't respect the women enough, which, to be fair, like, obviously, if you don't think that represents you, you're going to come out of the house and push against that. I don't blame him at all for that. But I just think it's like a super kind of an interesting spot. Like, I comment on Big Brother house guests and, like, on these podcasts, you know, I talk shit about everyone. If you go and listen to all of them, Morgan, I'll call out whatever I think is one of your bad moves, or I'll call out Vince's, I'll call out Rachel's bad move. I got fucking heat from Brendan this season for saying Rachel shouldn't have put up Riley, which was a wrong take, by the way. But I do think it's super admirable of Keanu to, like, hear me talking shit about his game. I'm not going to talk shit about anyone personally unless I actually have a problem with them personally.
Literally, fuck off.
But, like, when you hear someone talk shit about your game, it's not a large leap going from game to personality. Like, if you're saying this guy only worries about himself, that doesn't feel game-related. You know what I mean? So I do have a ton of respect for Keanu kind of, like, taking it on the chin and saying, all right, I'm just going to listen through him. It's hard being in the house versus what you watch. That's all I'll say. It's very cryptic. I do agree big picture, though. I don't know exactly what you're referring to, but I do agree big picture. Which is why I feel like I love commenting on people, because I feel like I do have some lived experience to be able to discuss it. Thank you, Anonymous, for gifting Hey There, Juliet. What a song. I feel like that would fit in one of your DJ sets, Morgan. I saw the set list. Dear Juliet. Is it just called Juliet? You know what I'm talking about? Hey, Juliet. Yeah. You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Wait, you sang a different song.
A lot of opinions about people stem from what the show edits or what the live feeds are, etc. I think there's a lot of internet groupthink that comes into play, of course. I think the TV edit just shapes how casuals view the show because they don't have any other context. I think the live feeds, like, if you really get into it and watch the feeds, you can get a good sense of how people are, just because, like, you can't fake it for 80 days, you know? Keanu was passionate, just didn't have the best reads. Morgan, I think we're totally in agreement. I think Keanu, like, I saw a huge Reddit thread about him that's like, he's not self-aware in the game, sometimes he's obnoxious, he has swamp ass, all these things, but he's a good guy. And I'm really rooting for him in life. And I feel like that's everyone's takeaway of, like, is he a flawed Big Brother player? Absolutely. I would love for him to succeed in everything he does. You know what I mean? The swamp ass was a hilarious night. That's one of my favorite things to have happened on feeds. Everything Keanu wanted didn't happen in game. I wouldn't say everything. He survived a vote at the final fucking 7 somehow, right? Final 6? No, final 7. Then he won the veto at 6. We all have our flaws in the game. Isn't that true? Shit. I'll tell you that much. The swamp ass is a core BB memory. It's just Vince reacting to the swamp ass is so funny. It just shows, I don't know, it's just such a good snapshot of their relationship. Vince changing the sheets after. Dude, the HOH bed's a big ass bed. Like, I don't know. Like, who am I gonna say? What was I talking about? Keanu with the thing and I don't know. Someone said, what do you feel about Zach post-game? He's fine. I don't know. I like, here's the thing. Don't expect Big Brother players to not be hypocrites. Everyone's a hypocrite, right? So, like, when you go online and talk shit about other people, people are going to criticize you for talking shit. You get what's coming to you. You know what I mean? I don't think there's much more to say there. Seems like a fine guy. I think if he played again, he'd probably do pretty well. Unless he made another, blunder. everyone's human, so be nice and don't at them. I mean, look, you can only say it so many times. You shitting on someone is not holding them accountable. There's no accountability there. Shit talking someone is just like for your own gratification to make yourself feel better, and it's just toxic. But have I solved it? Was me saying that? Is it over? Internet toxicity? Thank you guys. Thank you. Whew. I was worried this was going to be a problem for years to come. But now that I have said that sentence, we're good. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Where's my Nobel Peace Prize? It's on the way, I'm sure. Thank you, Nathan. The 22 months, I appreciate it. Anonymous gifted, hey there, Juliet. I think I already said that, but I do like that. Wildling, appreciate you. Cosmic. Okie dokie, okie dokie, okie dokie. Is there anything else BB27 relevant that I think's been happening? I feel like there is more stuff that I wanted to talk about, but I'm trying to...
Oh, Zach and Lauren met up today this morning, so...
Oh, look, I'm not Big Brother TMZ. I don't care. I hope they're happy. I don't care about that. The Chelsea situation. What do I say about that? I mean... I respect Chelsea's game a ton. Every interaction I've had with her is delightful. I think it's silly for people to act like your fandom can outdo or outwork someone's entire religious background. Like, people, like, if you're 26 years old and you enter the Big Brother house and you're super religious going in, you're going to be super religious going out, and your conduct's going to reflect that. And I feel like I'm a particularly a-religious, in some cases anti-religious person. Maybe that sounds harsh. I think institutionalized religions cause a lot of harm in this world. Not to sound like an edgelord atheist, but because I don't even know if I'm an atheist. I don't know. You know, I don't think about it too much. I just think it's like, just say it's not a sin. But I don't think she dislikes gay people in any way. I don't think she's homophobic. I think that's all a stretch too far. I just think it's like, when you are so deep in your faith, you get put in these situations sometimes where you have to contradict yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's just the nature of religion. Like, if I was an Orthodox Jew, right? I'm Jewish, but I'm very reformed, borderline not even believing in anything, really. If I was an Orthodox Jew, I would have to treat America like an inferior. Because most, like super hardcore Christianity or Orthodox Judaism or, you know, I'm trying to think of the correct word for Islam. Like, if you're far down the spectrum of whatever religion you're in, these texts were written a long time ago. And if you're following them by the letter of the law, you probably believe in slavery, you know? So I think everyone's just trying to balance their personal beliefs with their faith. And it's like, sometimes you get put in tough spots when you're so bought in. I feel bad that Chemo got dragged into it for no reason. I mean, of course, like, Chemo doesn't deserve that. I just think it's... Here's what we can all agree on. Those podcast hosts, what the fuck? Because if you're nodding, agreeing, you know, you could criticize that. What a ridiculous premise they brought up. Are you kidding me? I'm not listening to them. I've been a long, devoted listener of that podcast. Not anymore. My viewership ends here. So, this is where we start the Americory community boycott of that podcast.
Which podcast?
Whatever podcast Chelsea was on, those hosts.
It's like Carrie something, I think.
I think a good like indication that you're probably getting lost in the sauce is when you start playing linguistic semantics. Right? Like, I don't affirm it, I accept it, and I understand it. Just say the thing. Say your thoughts, you know? I think that's just like a good like rule of thumb of like, okay, might be a little bit lost in the sauce here. You never want to be playing semantics with issues like that. You want your takes to be very crystal clear. Nowhere does the Bible explicitly speak on homosexuality. I thought they did, because I did a speech once about religious exclusivism, where basically I was saying, like, every religion has lines that are fucked up. I know the Bible explicitly talks about slavery. It does, but in a weird way. I think it's one of those things where, like, and again, this is why I could never be a senator or a member of the House or the president or the mayor. Like, I think it's a waste of time and energy to, like, hyper analyze some of these lines in the Bible to derive your morals from them, or to try to have your morals fit to those lines. Like, if you have a moral belief and you want to, like, make it work within the Bible, it's like, nah, it's okay just to have your morals. And if there's, like, you could be, like, a Christian or be a Jewish person or whatever, and just, like, say, yeah, that one line's a bit weird, though. God missed the mark there. But everywhere else, that's my guy. You know what I mean? Put me in charge of a sermon. I would be a great televangelist. What if I ditched law school and go into televangelism school? Wouldn't that be cool? The Bible is just a bunch of random rules and stipulations on how to live, but I'm not going to hate on someone for their beliefs as long as it's not hateful. Yeah. Look, I'm not anti-religion in any way. Well, in some ways I'm anti the institution of religion because it does a lot of harm and it's like a political tool. But I'm not anti people being religious. That's fine. I think there's a lot of really powerful, impactful grassroots communities that derive from religious institutions, religious communities, like, you know, some of these things are like really important community building blocks, and that's genuinely helpful. Being able to go somewhere where you feel safe and feel community and feel loved and have resources, like, that's all positive. It's just like, I think once you view your religion as superior to others, which is what a lot of religions do. I want to read a speech, guys. I wrote a speech about religious exclusivism, which is the premise that my religion, whatever that religion is superior to your religion. It is the only correct religion. My religion is right in spite of yours, essentially. And this is the case in Judaism. Jewish people in the text were the chosen ones, Harry Potter style, Simba, you know what I mean? Which obviously carries the implication of, like, oh, all these Muslim people are wrong, Christians are wrong, people following Hinduism are wrong, you know? And I think, especially in Christianity, because it's the dominant religion in the U.S., Christianity, Catholicism, just, you know, in general, that side of the aisle, there is, like, an air of condescension and superiority that develops from, like, the type of language those podcast hosts were using. Like, I'm not affirming what you're doing, but I'm understanding and I'm empathetic. Right? And there's this whole idea of, like, needing to save others. Like, I think that idea is what really turns me off of religion. And obviously there's a lot of roots in, like, you know, forced conversion in Native American communities, boarding schools. Like, that path has never been a positive one for me. A lot of people get into a tough situation and find faith, and then they turn their life around. Hopefully that's what's happening with Jackson Mickey right now. You know, like, it could be positive in individual cases. It's just, I don't think it's a positive thing to, like, feel like your religion is superior and you are helping people out by spreading the gospel and, like, bringing them into the fold. I think that's just a weird approach, but who am I? Just a guy who got 8th place. Just a guy who won one HOH and lost a lot of them. I love ending every show with love one another. I don't mind it. I don't like how they just everyone just accepts it's the new Big Brother phrase, but I like the message. I'm sure it's rooted in Christianity, but, like, again, there's a ton of Christian beliefs I believe with. Love thy neighbor, Hell yeah. I'm not a guy who really likes my neighbors. Maybe I should like them more. Most people that hate Christians have noticed have never met a true Christian. They have met ones that don't really follow the teachings of Jesus and assume that all Christians are like that. I'm going to take it even a step further. I think it's just like has nothing to do with people's faith. Like some people I like and some people I don't like. You know what I mean? Like almost how religious you are has no bearing on my opinion of you unless like you use that religion to espouse hate, in which case I don't attribute that to your religion, you're just hateful. Don't Jews have the same first 10 commandments? You know what's funny? I don't know if you're Jewish. I don't think you're supposed to say Jews. I think it's not a pejorative. It's just like, pardon my language, it's just like saying blacks. Like it's kind of dehumanizing. Very different social context, obviously. But Cameron in the house asked me, he was trying to have like that Dan moment, like talking to Gen City or, what's his name? Steven, I think, from season 10, about like, you're the first gay person I've met. I've never met a lesbian before. He's like, I've never met a Jewish person before. I'm like, how the fuck is that possible, Cameron? You are 34, been in the military, traveled across the world. Like, you've never met a Jewish person before? He's like, can I call you, like, a Jew? Is that okay? And look, I'm sure it's genuine ignorance. I don't think he was playing at something. But I was like, yeah, probably not. Probably shouldn't say that. Like, you could. Like, no one's going to get on your ass about it. It's fine. But I just thought it was weird. I was like, okay. Anyways, I didn't mean to call you out. If you have an ugly soul, you have an ugly soul. It's a funny way of saying what I'm saying because it also has religious connotations. You worked at a Jewish school, so everyone there gave me the okay. Oh, you got the pass. I'm kidding, Tiffy. You're fine. You said I got Jewish friends. That's funny. It's very different, of course, from the examples I was laying out, but that is funny. Do you think the Golden Power Veto is idolized, thus making Big Brother an inherently blasphemous game? Who is that? Joanna from the Amazon? The immunity idol is a false idol? When did you realize America liked you romantically? From this chat message, this user, I believe you have a prompt. I think that's the quote of the season. I think 1 by 1 is another quote of the season. When did you realize America liked you romantically? It's a good question.
It's my burner.
I think it was when I first saw her on the stage. I was like, she's into me.
Shut up. No, for real though.
She started licking her lips. I'm like, whoa. America's locked in, by the way. She just turned the volume up. I don't know. I think whenever America started crying for me the first like time or two, I was like, damn, this isn't game.
That was late. That was the last week.
It wasn't just the last week.
Oh, it was week 5. Jared was HOH. He was going to put me on the block.
Yeah. When she helped you do your laundry, that's way too early. At that point, I might have been in love with Jared. America is for real the prettiest BB player ever. I love her. Save that for America's chat. Any Cory compliments can be directed here, though. Not a problem. You were in love with Jag. I heard I was in love with Jag. I heard America was in love with Jag. I heard Bowie Jane was in love with Jag. Jag's only in love with the power of veto. That's what's fucked up. When is someone going to get on his ass about that? I will say, I'm glad people are kind of coming around to Jag on the race, where they're basically saying, like, why does everyone hate Jag? And people are like, honestly, he's just, like, not a very good Big Brother player. Like, people don't respect his game. But he's fine. I'm like, there we go. There's a perspective I can get behind. Survivor Desi gifting a sub to I believe you have a prompt. Damn, I wonder if you could come up with a question better than that first one. I believe you have a prompt. That was a great start. People have so much Jag trauma that he's working to overcome. Loosely using the word trauma, but I do agree. I liked him and Jazz giving Natalie and Steph first place. to be in a position to give people first place pisses me off, though. I'm gonna be honest.
I think they've won the last 2 legs or something like that.
It's the 3rd episode, so I think
Yeah.
they've
So
done
they
pretty
keep
well
it
so far.
up. Also, it was like the winner got a power that they didn't want, clearly. So I mean, it's strategy. It makes sense.
It's strategy, and like you start immediately like proportional to when you ended your leg, so like they didn't lose time waiting, really. You know what I mean? They just lost the prize. Where do you think you and Zach would have placed? I think we would have been like 5th or 6th. I think we top out at 4th or 3rd. I don't think we could win. I don't want to say more for spoilers, but I think there's some teams there that are just better than us. But I think like knowing how well we knew the show, we were both in pretty good shape. Because the thing is about The Amazing Race, if one of your duo is not in good shape, you're in trouble. So I think we could have gotten to top 5 or 6. I don't think we could win, though. I think that's pretty out of the question.
Literally, fuck off.
You and America would win. I think we'd have a tougher time because I think Zach and I could Here's what I'll say. I think Zach and I would be less emotionally burdensome. I was waiting for her to say that.
Elaborate.
I think, like, if America and I were arguing, it would be a lot more toxic in terms of, like, oh, this is my relationship, and I don't want to, like, like, none of this really matters. The relationship is so much more important. Where, like, with Zach, it'd be like, fuck this guy. Like, I'll yell. Like, we're going to be brother. Like, he's my brother. Like, I have no problem yelling at him.
You were trying to yell at me?
America doing her makeup before the leg. Babe. Phil's waiting. Babe. Thank you, Clayton, for the 19 months. I would not have wanted to give up first if my partner and I had a chance to try and win every leg still. I think it's like, win the show. You know what I mean? Win the money. That should be the priority. Underrated Amazing Race strategy. Hide in Jag and Jazz's backpacks. Damn. Honestly, I don't think that works because you still have to do all the detours and roadblocks, but like for community, for like transportation, it might not be a bad call. Would you go on Survivor? Rachel said some of her friends have gotten parasites. Yes, I would do Survivor, of course. I love Survivor. I think they've hit a bit of a rut on this season, just in terms of like the new era. There's just fatigue. I mean, it's the 9th season of doing the same thing, so it's kind of natural, but it's okay.
Wait, quick story.
They'll change it up soon.
Quick story from Jag and Jazz. Because they're like, oh, why do they have one backpack? Because they could, I guess, right? Only carry one backpack, and they were traveling as light as they could, to the point where Jazz considered, like, leaving his toothbrush behind to make the backpack a little lighter.
I'll repeat this if you guys didn't hear that, but they were trying to make their backpack as light as possible, so they were like, all right, Jazz like, I'm going to get rid of the toothbrush.
Jazz like, no.
Jazz like, bro. Well, I'll leave the rest of the stories for them to tell, though. But I'm like, that is funny. We did. I just never know, because like, I could see the audio playing on the screen, but I have no idea what you guys are hearing. Survivor format needs to end. They just got to go to 2 tribes, just to mix it up, you know? Do 2 tribes, get rid of journeys, make something new, you know? There's infinite possibilities for what they could do with Survivor. What if Survivor does like a few rounds with a Big Brother format? You know what I mean? You just do a round where someone wins HOH. They could call it, you know, the some stupid fucking name. You know? Just mix it up. Like, here's a wish I had. Like, could someone just do Big Brother editing after the fact? Because Big Brother as a show is pretty bad because, like, you can't edit a narrative because you don't know what the story is going to be. And there's such time constraints on, like, everything. But if they just did, like, a Big Brother episode that was recorded months ago, and then they just edit together, like, a full HOH Noms Veto thing, and it's 90 minutes, that could be really fun. Might have to be, like, 2 hours, but, you know. I'm so glad Survivor Australia versus the World was this year. Wasn't it like 12 days? Sorry, I'm a hater. It's 12 days. It's like, that must have been so weird to play. Yeah, I don't know if 39 days versus 26 is like why the show has. And okay, here, let's also not be a revisionist. Like, the last few 39-day seasons were fucking trash. 37 was fire. 8 and 9 were really rough. And then 40 was like genuinely awesome because of what it was, but it was like the worst version of that season possible. Like, an all-winner season that Tony wins should have been the best season of reality TV ever. And it was just like a top 10 season. Like the 10th best. 12th best. You know what I mean? Yes, he did, Lex. Or Tex. We sat down and talked about the whole thing. Ashley or Taylor, who's the better player? Why you gotta put two strong, powerful women against each other? I think Ashley. I think it's hard to evaluate Taylor because her season was so fucked. Like, she didn't have a chance to play with as much agency as Ashley, but I think Ashley played the more impressive game. I think it's close, though. Like, I think they're in the same tier. I think Taylor's big pro. She's a better competitor. Social game-wise, I think they're pretty similar. And strategic, I think Ashley was very level-headed and was able to see the board pretty clearly, and Taylor was a little all over the place. So I think that's like just the difference. Taylor's better physically, Ashley's better strategically, socially is kind of a wash. And I favor socially to physically, because like Taylor wasn't a comp beast, she was just good. Hot take, returning seasons kind of suck. Besides the OG Heroes, Villains, and Blood vs. Water. Did you forget about Micronesia? Because that's one of the best seasons ever. Philippines is awesome too. Caramoan's pretty good. Like, people don't like it. I thought Caramoan was pretty fun. Cambodia was great. Yeah, I think you got a bad take there. Game Changer is pretty bad. I think most returning player seasons of Survivor are good. And low-key, Survivor All-Stars is like a top 5 season for me. So that's... Yeah, look, your argument's always going to fall short with me. I love Survivor All-Stars. I think that's the season I have the most nostalgia for in all of reality TV. BB18 redo for BB28. I think Morgan is a lock. She should be because she games super hard. I think Vanessa, if she's willing to do it. Obviously, if she's not, throw Tiffany in there. For the men, Eric Stein's back in the mix. He'd be a great pick. And then I think Keanu would be pretty good. Like, I prefer, if you're going to go with a Keanu or Tucker, Cameron, like that kind of molds, I feel like who they would go for. I think Keanu is my favorite version of that, just because how he tries to play. And then the last person is like a Michael Bruner would be fun. That'd be pretty cool. I wouldn't want to see Chelsea, just because she already won. There's no reason to bring a winner back, I don't think, in that kind of season. For All-Stars, absolutely, I want all the winners to come back, basically, with no exceptions. I want to see Ashley, Jag, Chelsea, Taylor. Did you watch Eric Stein's RHAB interview? A bit of it, yeah. What about you? I just don't think it's super realistic. Not for that kind of season. All-Stars 3, maybe, but I think that's being very, very hopeful. They won't bring back 2 players from BB27. Why not? They did that last time, BB18. Davon and James. Like, that's literally what we're referencing, right? Okay, so here's what I will say. There's no fucking excuse for them not to just bring Big Brother Canada players onto BBUS. Why the fuck is this next All-Star season not just going to have Kevin Jacobs and Ika? Who obviously would do it. I haven't spoken to Kevin about it, but, like, he would do Big Brother US given the opportunity. Ika would play Big Brother US given the opportunity. Netta would do it. Why don't you just, like, Big Brother Canada is canceled. You guys won. Congratulations. Bailey, obviously. Just throw in half BB Can, half BB US. You're going to get the best cast of all time. Getting a visa approved might be hard. I don't think so. For CBS, for 6 to 8 people, I think it's doable. I think it's doable. Betty, of course. I'm not talking about that Bailey. I'm talking about Bailey Pelham. Netta vs. Ika Part 3? I mean, are you kidding me? Like, wouldn't that just be like a flex for Big Brother US? They're like, fuck it, now we're bringing your people onto our show. Like, I feel like they don't do it because, you know, it'd be kind of hard to explain to BBUS, like, the context of some of these players. But, like, at the end of the day, it would just be a better show because these people are crazy in the best way. Marty. I just want reindeer games. I always just have the worst opinions, don't I? I genuinely don't want reindeer games to happen again. Unless I'm on it. Because I don't care about the viewing experience at all. It's just I'm watching competition show. And it's cute, but like it has nothing to do with Big Brother. It genuinely means nothing to me. I think they did a great job producing it. And I think for what it was, they did as well as they could. And it's fun to just have something to talk about. But like, that show did nothing for me. BB27 drama. Go back in the VODnet. It was we had a moment. I was talking all kinds of shit. Morgan popped in, started going back and forth with Morgan. Then I think I might have said something to upset Morgan. I hope I didn't. Check the VOD. It was pretty good. People liked reindeer games because everyone expected it to be a 2 out of 10. It ended up being a 6 out of 10. I think people liked it because I don't think this is even a hot take. I think this is just the truth. You guys ready for the truth? A very, 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 very small percentage of the online community watches the live feeds or is like really invested in the feeds at all. You know? So it's just like reindeer games was just like more of the same to a lot of these people. I'm kidding. I don't think Morgan's upset. I think she's fine. I take it you wouldn't do reindeer games then? No, I'd do it. What do you mean? Please, CBS. Have you guys heard my thoughts about the race? Like, I think playing it would be super fun. And I think it was pretty watchable, but like it's just for me it's like watching reindeer games was like watching Survivor or The Challenge. It's like, okay, it's a TV show. But Big Brother is its own thing, you know what I mean? Would you be an elf like Derek X? They'd cast me as an elf and then not even mention that like I was a former house guest. I'd be like just an elf. But how much the compilation of competition win ceremonies and votes? Yeah. And that's like the thing. It's not even like they cut Ashley out of the edit so intentionally and like didn't want to give her credit for anything. These shows are just built around competitions and ceremonies. You know? So like she's just not going to have a role in most of these episodes. Can you hear the crowd during evictions like in BB Can? Well, I don't know how much they can hear in BB Can. I'm sure they can hear a lot. But like I think what's cool about BB Can is they play it on the microphones for the audience. Like, we get to hear it at home. BBUS, you get to hear, like, there's a guy hyping up the crowd before the evictions or, like, in commercial breaks and stuff. And you could sometimes hear, like, stuff. But not much. It's just kind of rumblings.
Cheering.
Yeah, cheering. I wish they cared enough to scramble and find clips of her gaming once they realized she had a solid chance to win. I think they looked at the final 3 and were certain it was going to be Morgan and Vince, which I think was a fair assessment. I think, and it's not Ashley's fault that the comps are bullshit, but like part 1 and 2 were both incredibly physical, and Vince was much better at part 2, except for reading the rules, which is a part of it. Ashley kicked his ass there. Which, I don't need to go into it again. I'm glad Ashley won there. I thought it was the most exciting outcome for the finale, but like those rules were fucking ridiculous. I can't believe how like that got through testing, or like that was greenlit. Those rules. And I don't think it's like here's the bigger criticism I would give of the show is like under editing Ashley in the context of the game. I do understand, just because I don't understand. That's how they've always edited players like Ashley. Players who don't win a lot of competitions and are like somewhat understated in their game and are playing behind the scenes. Like they've never gotten big edits unless they're a huge character as well, you know? The jury segments themselves and the roundtable were edited like shit. I think the people who edit those segments just need to have more communication with the people who are like editing other parts of the show. Because those segments just did not comport with reality. And I think that's why a lot of people were like, Cory, you're deluding yourself. No one's going to vote for Ashley. I just happen to know because I was also in the jury house. So I'm like, okay. This smells suspicious to me. They knew she won part 2 and still edited it like that. I cannot understand why they edited the roundtable like that. That was so weird to me. I don't think they edited it for suspense. I think if they knew Ashley, like right now, if they could edit the episodes again, they would give Ashley more of a role. I think they're trying to predict the winner as it goes on. They very clearly talked about the exact winning situation for Ashley. I mean, there was a scene, you know. I'm glad they included that scene. As soon as Will and Rachel were the first 2 jurors, they should have gotten Ashley out. I don't know. I think Morgan did, because she was ultimately making most of the decisions just because, like, she was in power. Like, I think she made the right move at most points, getting everyone out. I think letting Keanu, evicting Keanu over Kelly was a bit of a choice to me. I understand you want to weaken Lauren. But I think at that point, it all came down to comps anyways. Keanu was targeting her too. So I think they should have just voted out Keanu. Because as long as you perceive Keanu as a better competitor than Kelly, I think it just makes more sense to evict Keanu. Because I don't know if Morgan knew how much Keanu was like singularly focused on her. So I think that was maybe her only mistake. But at the end of the day, it's like she beat Keanu in the comps anyways. Maybe Kelly would have done better. So who knows? El Rey, thanks for the 9 months. I appreciate it.
Literally, fuck off.
Vince should have kept Keanu. I mean, Vince would have lost to Keanu, though. So it's like, I think Vince was in trouble. The second he got rid of Lauren, I think he was in a lot of trouble. Or really, the second he renommed Lauren. How'd midterms go? I only had one. It's only one midterm. Everything else is just finals. But it was good. You know, I don't think I was perfect, but I think I was all right. Pretty solid. Keanu loved him some Vinny and didn't want to compete with Morgan. I mean, Morgan's the correct target for everybody. Post White Locust, Morgan's the obvious threat that everyone had to get rid of. But she won everything. She won everything, and she had like a couple numbers that were winning the stuff she didn't win. So it's not like people missed their shots. It's like you just couldn't take a shot. And I think Vince probably lost the game even earlier than that. There's ways he could have won, potentially, but, you know. Hi, I love you on season of Big Brother. Thank you, Wheat. I appreciate it. Or Wheaty. I'm just so thankful Riley was evicted so early. Thank you, Queen Rachel. It's an interesting one. Has anyone been following them? Are they on social media? Are they, like, posting stuff? It's okay, Wheaty. I don't think that's for me. In fairness, he was asking everyone what to do. It's kind of Vince's style. Riley's charging $50 per cameo. So was I. I don't think that's crazy. Because it's just supply and demand. Like, if he's charging 30 and he doesn't think it's worth his time, like, you know.
From 30, you get what, like $15 maybe?
You get 60%, 65 or something.
15, $20.
But you aren't Riley. I understand that, but it's like, it's just how much are you willing to charge? Like, for me, we lowered it to 35 and it was like, you do a cameo, and our cameos are like 15 minutes for like $20. It's just like, it feels like a burden, and you don't want it to feel like a burden. Americory cameos are different. Yeah, we might open them up soon, maybe. I don't know. We haven't talked about it. Maybe. If we ever do open them up, we'll post about it. Or actually, we probably wouldn't. We would just open it up and, like, be quiet. Riley cameos are 34 seconds. I think Rachel respected Vince's game, and she really didn't want them to be a bitter jury. I mean, that's what she said in the round table, but that's not what she embodied at the finale. I just think bitter jury is a term that needs to be fixed a little bit. I think bad jury management's a better thing to say than bitter jury. Like, because I think sometimes a jury is rightfully bitter, you know? Sometimes juries are not rightfully bitter, but, like, what are you going to do? You know? I have a couple, like, cold takes that I think are hot takes. Like, yeah, everyone's saying best player wins the season. Ridiculous. Absolutely not. I don't think that's been the case in several seasons. At least going as far back as 22. Going back to 22. Yeah, sure, Weedy, why not? It's just fun. It was a good time. Do you think they were bitter on 20? I think they were. I think like 20. There was a huge part of, like, they just didn't understand how much Tyler was doing. I think that played, like, a good amount of their role as, like, they thought Tyler was doing less, and he tried to explain it in the end. He did a good job. It's just like, you don't have enough time. Some people were bitter. I think some were just like, they liked Casey more. Thought their games were about the same. So, I'm in the context of Vince versus Keanu. I think Rachel would have voted for Keanu 100 times over Vince. I think that's a crazy scenario. To each their own, if that's what you think would have happened. But if it ended up being Vince Keanu, I think Rachel is, like, Keanu's #1 advocate. I think Rachel votes Keanu over Ashley, to be honest. But I don't know. No way, no way. What do you think, America?
What?
Keanu, Ashley, final 2. Who does Rachel vote for?
Ooh. I think she votes for Keanu.
I think she votes for Keanu, too. So, yeah, everyone else disagrees. I don't know.
I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen any of her postseason interviews, but it really seemed like she valued competition wins, and she saw a lot of herself in Keanu, you know?
Yeah, I just think, and also if Keanu ends up in the end with Ashley, I think Rachel would have been like, Keanu, you did that. Nice job.
Yeah.
I could see it going either way, though. She was closer to Ashley, obviously.
Yeah.
But, like, saying she, like values comp wins, like, she obviously does, but she did vote for Ashley over Vince, but that's a much easier, you know, personal relationships come into play at that point when there's such a big gap. Rachel will go with Ashley after the Q&A. I think Keanu would have given a good speech. I think he would have prepped a lot, been passionate. I think he would have been good. I don't know if he would have been as good as Ashley, but we're gonna answer Discord that you're on stream. I appreciate the love. We're big Morgan fans here. Anyone who's willing to game at 4 a.m. in the Big Brother house, good in my book. No way Keanu makes it to the final 2 unless he goes on a super impressive comp run, and that's hard to ignore. And reward, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it was kind of inexplicable how much Rachel liked Keanu and kept going back to Keanu and trusting Keanu. Like, I don't blame her. Everyone's got their blind spots. sometimes you just want to work with someone that you like ignore the signs. But I would not be surprised if she voted for him over just about anyone. Didn't most of the jury not like Keanu? I mean, I think sometimes you don't like someone, but you respect him enough, and also I think the nature in which they didn't like Keanu was different to how they like didn't like Vince or didn't like Kelly. Was Mimi your blind spot? I think Mimi, and then eventually Bowie. For America, it's Blue and Jag. For Suri, it's Matt. Like literally every Big Brother player. I'm trying to think who for BB27, like who was Ashley's blind spot? Didn't really have one. I guess Zach. Zach was definitely her blind spot. Suri's blind spot was Jared. Nah, I don't give her. Ava, sure. Yeah, Vince is a weird one. I don't know if he had a blind spot like that. Keanu had like Riley. He had a lot of them. I just think that I give Suri more blame for the Jared stuff than like it's your son. You know, get it under control. But I give Suri a lot more grace when it comes to Matt because Matt's pretty hard to read in that way. Jared, I think, for what it's worth, is pretty easy to read. You always know what he's thinking. Clean that up a little bit. It's so funny. She could have had it under control if it wasn't for the kayak. Yeah, I mean, it could have changed a lot. I still think with the amount of information I had, I think we would have been able to get it done, but I don't know if we even would have had the conversations necessary. Vince's blind spot was Morgan. I don't think that's a blind spot. Like, I think he knew what Morgan was doing the whole time. Morgan's just persistent and had a hold on him. And in fairness, I think Morgan's the type of player who, like, she would convince herself that it's also the optimal move for Vince. Like, I don't think Morgan was, like, playing Vince in a lot of these moments. She was always playing self-interestedly. She was doing what was best for her, but then she would try to make it so it also made sense for Vince in her head, you know? I hope that makes sense. Imagine if Ashley didn't win the first veto, season would look different. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's a lot of scenarios like that. What if Jag didn't come back? What if Taylor actually was evicted week 1, you know? That's why Big Brother is like, you just have to keep in mind there's a lot of luck. There's a lot of luck. There's a lot of happenstance. A lot of smoke and mirrors. You just gotta be on the right side of those decisive moments. Cory's blind spot was America. I don't think so. I think I hurt America's game with my blind spots, and she hurt my game with hers. Oh, she's killing it. What if you did not flip on Izzy? You want to go down that rabbit hole again? Do you think Brittany Haynes is underrated as a player? She has some of the best social games seen on the show, and she was surprisingly good at a large chunk of comps. I think she's actually properly rated at this point. I think she's rated well. Like, she's good. She's a really good player. I think on BB12 was less impressive, but she made a deep run and had good allies, and, you know. And then BB14, she was playing a really, really good game, had a good shot of winning until it all fell apart. I still think with if Dan just gets evicted, I think Shane is the most likely winner, but I think she's probably number 2. It might be Ian. I think it's like Shane, then Ian, then Danielle at that point. Or not Danielle, Brittany. I think Brittany was still number 3 there. But she had a great shot. Underrated as a comp threat. I don't remember how good she was at comps, so I guess in that way she probably was. I'll take you guys' word for it. Seeing Brittany do good on Traders was satisfying. It was weird watching her on Traders, where like she did really well and then just had a terrible moment. But then I have to be like, all right, it's Traders. Who cares? There's not a semblance of real strategy to consider here. Izzy and Paige killing it. Oh God, we hung out with them in New York, or not in New York. They came to Boston for the Bryson Wynn event. So fun. They're just hilarious. 3 vetoes and an HOH on BB12. I mean, that's really impressive considering the competition. I mean, you got Brendan and Rachel. Brendan's there basically the whole time. Hayden's no slouch. Matt's not a slouch. Lane's pretty... Lane wasn't that good, but, you know. He's a big, strong guy still. See you, Kayla. Winning comps when it matters is very important. Okay. Can I give a slight pet peeve? I kind of hate the they win when it matters. It's luck. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh, when it matters, you lock in and initiate the clutch factor. It's like, sometimes you bail yourself out with a win. Like, Morgan did not win when it mattered. She just won a lot, so we don't know when it necessarily would have mattered. Ashley only winning when it mattered is like, she also could have used a lot of those comps before. Those would have really mattered. She kind of needed it at the final 4, too, and the final 5. But I guess by definition, she did win the 2 comps necessary for her winning. Like by definition, she did win when it mattered. But that's not a skill. You know what I mean? Winning the comps itself is impressive, but, like, it would have mattered a lot at Final 4, too. Like, if Vince wins the Final 4, she's in... no, she's probably still fine. She's safe at the Final 4 no matter what. No, Ava wins HOH, and then Morgan wins veto, she's evicted. Vince wins veto, she's evicted. You know, like, there's situations where she could have been cooked there. Some people perform better under pressure. Yeah. Yes, that is the thing. I don't know if that applies to Ashley with Part 2. The first veto, for sure. Part 2, it's just such an anomaly how that competition worked out. Can you say that more for someone like Xavier? He threw most comps, won when it mattered. I think he would have benefited from winning more comps. Winning comps is a good thing. There are situations where you should throw 100%. Jared, week 2, playing the middle, should not win HOH. Most of the time, you should just win, especially when you're in the final 7, 6, 5. LeBron's like maybe the best playoff performer in the league's history. Jordan's up there. I mean, you could argue Jordan's won, but LeBron's definitely the most consistent performer in the postseason. I mean, she lucked out, kinda, but, like, she also would have had a chance of winning it if it was a booth comp, right? So she could have just been safe anyways. MJ is the GOAT. I think he's got a great case. I think he's just second, but I think anyone who losing percentage in the finals. Do you guys want to go into the LeBron Jordan thing? I don't want to. It's just such a here's what I'll say. This is all I'm gonna say about this. LeBron's lost so many finals. No one's been to as many as him. And that's not... Some people have... Bill Russell, whatever. What, you penalizing the guy for making it in 07? We're holding that against him? Oh, he dragged the shittiest Cavs team you've ever seen to the finals? Here's the thing. Anybody who acts like it's not a debate, who thinks MJ is so much worse than LeBron, they're just MJ superfans... Anyone who thinks, oh my God, LeBron is not even in the you immediately invalidate your own opinion. Like, you are not a valid commentator, critic, or fan. You can have whatever perspective you want. If you say Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the GOAT, I would hear that case too. But acting like it's not a debate and they're not close, I think is when I don't respect you as a sports opinionist anymore. How many 2007 Cavs games did you watch? Cory, I was locked in, Mike. How dare you? LeBron did not quit on the Mavs. He played like shit. And saying he quit on the Spurs, the Warriors, Nathan, what the fuck are you on? You are just hurting your own credibility by spewing bullshit. There's no conceivable path of argument that's like, yeah, he quit on the Warriors when he dropped 51 in the game one and lost. Like, excuse me? MJ would never lose. It took like 7 years to get out of the first round. What are you talking about? Got swept by the Celtics like 3 years in a row, which is fine. The Celtics are a great team. You need to have good teammates to get there. Basketball is a team sport. It's just like, I think the thing that pisses me off is the finals record conversation. I think it's so silly because it's like, we're just not penalizing Jordan for losing in other rounds of the playoffs when LeBron, until like recently, never lost in other rounds of the playoffs. Like, we're just saying like Jordan gets a pass for losing in round one, round two for like over half his career. Whereas LeBron like never did that outside of like, you know, the 40-year-old in Los Angeles, which I'm not going to hold against him. He's fucking 40. And LeBron never quit the sport, so give him credit for that. Yeah, LeBron quit the finals. Michael Jordan quit basketball like 3 times. And he's the second best player of all time, in my opinion, and has a really strong case for the best. Because that's the reasonable opinion to have, that it's a debate, and it depends on what you value. Could LeBron play in the MLB? He could play tight end. Slightly lower at peak, but much more in longevity? Yeah, I think that's generally the case. I think Michael Jordan's peak was better. Michael Jordan was much better than his peers at the time because basketball has evolved quite a bit. LeBron still had a stretch of dominance, but I think his just like stretch of top-level play is so much longer than Jordan's. You have to give him some credit. And I'm not going to say like, oh, it's just modern medicine. It's like no one has done what LeBron's done longevity-wise. And Jordan obviously didn't take care of his body, which it's his choice. He still had a hell of a career. You're biased. I just think you listen to what I'm saying and then see what you wrote, and like you don't even have a perspective or an argument. You're just like rage baiting. Anyone who watched Jordan and LeBron knows Jordan's number one. Hey, Bubba, are you like 50? It's okay if you are. Ashley or Steve, who's the better player? Steve. I don't think that's close. Steve had a lot more agency, I think. And just a lot better at comps. It's not like a crazy gap between the two, but I think Steve's better than Ashley. And also Vanessa, for what it's worth, is like a stronger player than Morgan, so it's like toppling Vanessa and playing alongside Vanessa. Like, I think that's more impressive than the opposite. Compability might give Steve the edge. Compability is really important. My goat never go 4-10 in the finals. He's like fucking 0-5 in the first round against the Celtics and the Pistons. Until Pippen, which is fine. I have no problem with people having good teammates. Yeah, it's a different era, Wills. I don't hold that against him that much. I think people who are like, LeBron's a better shooter than Kobe, it's like, by the stats, he is, and I think the gap is closer than people think, but like, Kobe's era, you know, during his prime, shooting was just worse, like the early, mid-2000s. Who cares about comps? Comps matter. We don't want them to, but they do. Like, you know, I think it's silly and naive to act like they don't matter. Ashley won because she won part 2 and part 3. Steve won because he won part 3. Like, the absolute apex best players can try to figure it out without comps, but even Dan, he had to bail himself out a few times. Dr. Will played against plumbers. I don't think Mahomes is better than Brady. I think Brady's obviously the GOAT. I think Mahomes has a good chance of getting in the conversation. I think if he gets to 5 Super Bowls, and he's going to have better stats, more accolades, like, you know, I think he's on track right now. But they're not there yet. I mean, Mahomes is sucking this season. He's playing well this season. The Chiefs suck this season. He's playing really well. Compared to the last couple, he's playing really well. Will you ever have children? Says you're a suspicious user. Thanks, Mike. I think that's a bad take, Viochi, but to each their own. Nah, I don't think that would have been smart, Mountain Doofus. Like, you have no reason to believe Vince would lose part 2. Dude got blown out by 2 Super Bowls. Brady lost to Eli Manning twice. That's worse, in my opinion. Also, like, I think count the rings is even lamer for football, because it's like there's a whole fucking half of the game that your quarterback doesn't play in. And Brady's first 3 Super Bowls, he had literally the best defense, one of the best defenses of all time, right? I'm not trying to invalidate Brady. It's just like everyone's got flaws in their resume, right? Because that Giants defense. All right, I'm done reading your comments, Nathan. You are not you're not a good actor anymore in this conversation. I'm Falcons fan, so Brady. That is a shame. Like, the Falcons, that should have just been a Falcons Super Bowl. That should have been like Matt Ryan's Joe Flacco Super Bowl, you know? Thanks, Heather. Jag is like Tom Brady in your season. No, Jag is like Cam Newton. He just has that 1 year where it's like, God damn. Like, shit, is this guy the best player of all time? Is he the best competitor to ever see Big Brother? And it's like, probably not. But, you know. Lost to Nick Foles once. Hey, no shade on Nick Foles. No Nick Foles slander in the chat. Yeah, but Ramon, I think your rankings are not evaluating how good someone is at Big Brother then. You're just like ranking people based on their ability and social strategy in the context of Big Brother. Which is fine if that's what you're doing, but like, comps are a part of the game. And comps are the reason that I am a significantly worse player than, you know, Kevin Martin. Right? Like, we're pretty similar. We have a lot of flaws. He might be a little bit better socially in some areas. But, like, comps, like, they just matter a lot. Especially nowadays. Back in the day, you could argue a little bit more. I didn't spoil anything. Yeah, sure, Weedy. I don't love the game, but I think the show's pretty fun. But I think that's reserved for legends, and there's a long line of people. It's less impressive to me, that's all. That's fine. I agree with you there. It's just, we live in a society. Mike, what is happening? Mike, why are you deleting these comments? Oh, spoilers. You're deleting spoilers. I got you. You're right. Carry on. Carry on. You're fine, Sydney. Just try to keep in mind. Let me lock in. And Ned had to actually sit up. You would love Destination X. I would study a lot for Destination X. That show seems... I enjoyed what I've watched. It's kind of a goofy concept, but I watched a couple episodes with America, in and out. Man, if Ashley beat Morgan in the final 2, the casual reaction would have been even worse. I don't think it would have been. I think the casuals... Here's the thing. Do casuals think that Morgan's a better player than Vince? Like, all the internet people know that, but, like, I feel like on the casual, they were always hyping up Vince. And Vince is the master strategist, and he's the guy with the mustache. You know what I mean? I think they would have seen Morgan beat Vince and think the jury was bitter against Vince. You have to, like, recalibrate your whole brain with some of these things. Yeah, that was my impression, Lex. Yeah, okay, all right. I think I'm clocked in. When did Morgan say she's going live? Is she going live now-ish? $30 minutes? Okay, I'm not going to hang on to rate her then, but... I can rate her. Y'all want to just hang out in her chat? Vibe out until Morgod shows up. Start some fuck-ass LeBron Jordan debate. casting move away from selecting Christians for the show? I do not believe so. I don't think they should incorporate religion into their casting philosophy much at all. What's is it Model Morgue, right? All right. Morgan's not live yet. She'll be live in 30, so you can just hang out there. Keep the tab open, leave it. It doesn't matter to me. But say hi to Morgan if you stick around. Enjoy, y'all. Fun stream. I love ranting. You know how it is. I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.